Hey guys, Path of Building Cat here, and I want to talk about some builds that I'm thinking of maybe playing in the upcoming Turmoil and Mayhem races. And I also just want to quickly say, streamers doing shady stuff, it might have been retarded of you to do what you did, and you know exactly what you did, and I'll leave the clips down below, but it gave us all plenty of entertainment between now and the race has started, so for that at least, I salute you. So, what are the builds that I'm thinking about playing? I really want to mess around with totems, and also before you ask, I'm going to be playing hardcore, not SSF. I'm not sure if I'm going for a top 5 demi, and also if you're unaware, Bex has confirmed they'll be giving demis to the top 5 of each ascendancy. That will completely depend on how my health is feeling at the time. Knowing me, I'll most likely ignore my health being bad and I'll go for it, and Kane is trying to force me into going for it whether I want to or not. So it's very likely that I will be going for that, and because of that, I've been trying to stick to kind of underused ascendancies, and as such, I'm thinking about Hierophant. I've been wanting to play totems for a while, haven't played totems all league, and I've been wanting to try a few different kinds of totems, and Hiero is very sort of friendly to low gear requirements. If you are unaware of the advantages of Hiero, Pursuit of Faith is incredibly powerful. Think of it like the S shield. It is a ramping DPS steroid if you or your totems have killed recently. Very nice early map clear. And then you get Ritual of Awakening, which gives you 2 additional totems at a time, 7% less damage per totem. This is still overall a DPS increase. And Ritual of Awakening means you do not need to go Ancestral Bond. If you really, really wanted to, you could mess around with doing some fancy like Blade Vortex, self-casting, or target setup. I'm personally not going to mess around with any of that stuff. I'm just using this as a way of I get to save myself some skill points. And for map clear, 3 totems is more than absolutely fine. Illuminated Devotion means that with some clever essence usage, we can actually get away with some very nice gearing flexibility, which I'll cover later. And the 40% increased area effects from skill socketing or gloves means that early leveling, you get very nice boosts to your shockwave totem and your AoE leveling skills in general. And then end game, you would put a curse on hit Orb of Storm set up in there, and it just means that you gain a bunch of quality of life. Going for Illuminated Devotion, Ritual of Awakening, and Divine Guidance most likely. I could also go Conviction of Power for power and endurance charges if I decide that Illuminated Devotion isn't worth it in the end. So, why would I want to go Illuminated Devotion? So, skills socketed in my helmet penetrate 20% elemental resistances. If you use a helmet with Essence of Insanity, you get socketed gems gain 50% of physical damage as extra lightning damage. So this is pretty powerful for a physical skill. You get 100% elemental conversion through a combination of Rim Sorrow gloves, giving you 50% cold conversion, and then Fizz 2 lightning, giving you 50% lightning conversion as the gem. And then you have a very powerful 100% elemental 4-link shockwave totem, which gains an additional 50% of Fizz as lightning damage. So that's all pretty solid. Now, if you eventually had a 6-link, I'll show you what that would look like. You would have 97,000 tooltip in comparison to 93,000 tooltip. So yeah, it's basically a case of what do you think you're going to get sooner, a 6-link or a Essence of Insanity? Most likely a Essence of Insanity, as that's something you buy in the first couple of days if you're lucky. If you're not lucky, you can just go for a 6-link and do another setup, but the DPS numbers are very, very similar between the two. Right, so what is the issue with this build? Because that's basically the build. 100% AoE conversion, Shockwave Totem. Shockwave Totem has this small problem called being an area skill. That is a radius 35. That is with increased AoE gem and stuff. It's just kind of lackluster. That's with Carcass Jack, etc. Before you make Carcass Jack memes. It's just fucking annoying. The current state of AoE. That's that. And yeah, defensively, you have 40% mind over matter. you have a very large mana total and a very solid life total. You get loads of placement speed, very easy leveling. The single target damage won't be the best, but it'll be passable, and your map clear should be fairly decent even with the pretty trashy AoE. Now, alternatively, you can do Dark Pact Totems. Dark Pact Totems gives you a lot more life, teeny weeny bit more mana, generally a lot more flexibility with gear, should have better damage overall, and isn't reliant on any shenanigans with helmets, etc. And in that case, this is actually a non-crit tree. You would probably go for Sanctuary of Thought to just casually pick up like 1000 energy shield, 1.2k energy shield actually. So that's pretty good. Now this is again a build I could maybe do, I'm not entirely sure about, and I will probably try and do some testing between now and the 10th to decide what I want to do. Other suggestions, other ideas that I sort of have. Funny enough, Organic Lol was having a chat with Sir Crushy Crush and came up with this build at the same time or the same day that I was chatting to Kane about the same things. So I've been on kind of a hype train about this whole Essence of Insanity Helmcrafted thing. So I've been trying to think what are good fizz skills which you can do like funky conversion tactics with. Well, you can do Glacial Cascade, either Totems or Self-Cast Elementalist. The reason why you want to be Elementalist is Elementalist is a fairly underrepresented ascendancy. And you get very good benefits from the penetration from Elementalist. So, you get 25% Lightning Pen if you've used a cold skill in the last 10 seconds. Using the setup that you'd use previously, you would have 60% of your damage as cold anyway from inbuilt Glacial Cascade Fizz conversion. You would then have 40% lightning damage from a Fizz to Lightning, and an additional 50% lightning damage from the added as extra from the helm. So your Lightning Pen is very effective, and then you get 25% Cold Pen if you've used a fire skill in the past 10 seconds. So as long as you're casting Flame Dash every 10 seconds, or as you're pressing Glacial Cascade, which is your main DPS skill, every 10 seconds, you get 25% pen for Cold and Lightning. You also get a rotating buff to your AoE, a bunch of free elemental damage, some attack and cast speed, which equals faster shield charge or Whirling Blade speed. Cast speed obviously either buffs your self-cast or your totem cast speed. Your self-cast, you then get the reduced reflect alongside probably double golems most likely. And then if you were playing totems, you could go for Beacon of Ruin to just better proliferate freeze and shocks, or you could go for golems if you can get away with playing golems that will kill yourself. Other recommendations I would make: Assassin probably won't see much use. The one thing I will say for all the budding, I'll play insert underrated ascendancy here. If you're going to play Hiero, if you're going to play Elementalist, if you're going to play Assassin, the only people playing those ascendancies will be people knowing they're underrepresented and trying to push on them. That's something you really need to take into account. So if you're going for a top 5 and you're going for I'll pick the super underrepresented, you will actually have competition in a weird sense of the way. So that's something you might want to consider if you're just going for a generally more powerful mid-tier representation ascendancy option, like for example Occultist. But yeah, good crit trees for Assassin. Just any crit spell really. Just go Deadly Infusion, go Assassinate. It's somewhat suboptimal, but oh well. I would expect very heavy participation on Necro, Saboteur. I would actually say all 3 Ranger ascendancies. People keep telling me, but no one plays Deadeye. Deadeye is actually very solid when it comes to these short races. It has loads of free damage in there, and there's a reason people like Steel regularly play Deadeye at the start of leagues, it's just a very good source of early damage and is very powerful in the current KB meta when it comes to picking up certain things. So Deadeye may not be that free of a win as you would expect. Raider and Pathfinder don't really need explaining. I'd expect very good representation for all 3 of the duelist options. Again, people go, no one will play Champion. Curse on Hit Champion's actually one of the best supports currently out there. If you're playing in SSF, then yeah, sure, you're not going to be seeing many supports in SSF. But if you're playing either the main softcore or the main hardcore league, there will be Curse on Hit Champions out there. And Champion is another one of those ascendancies people are naturally drawn to when they think of things which doesn't see play. Sunder, Slayer, I love how I say Sunder instead of Slayer these days. Both Slayer and Glad will obviously very high representation. I'd expect solid representation, especially from Berserker when it comes to all three of the Marauder options, and I'd expect pretty solid representation for all three of the Templar options, simply because you'll have a lot of people, much like myself, playing Templar because they think it will be an easy demi, when really it won't be. I'd actually probably say a Cultist would probably be the easiest surprise demi if you're someone who just regularly plays a lot, and you just pick a very solid clearing skill like ED Contagion, and it's very easy when it comes to playing with absolutely zero gear investment. So yeah, that is sort of the things that I'm currently thinking about. And also, since this has been a day of revelations and things coming out into the fourth run, I actually have an admission I need to make myself. So when it comes to streamers doing shady stuff, I'm afraid I've actually been lying to all of you for quite a while now. I don't actually have a torso. You see, I'm currently a void creature, and I've been, using certain makeups and stuff to hide the fact that there isn't actually anything here. So yeah, streamers, shady stuff. I'm sorry. I apologize. Please no Bannerino. I'm Tarke. Have a good day. If you have any cool build suggestions or you have some shockwave totem suggestions, let me know. Bye-bye.